The Price of Freedom, Part 1. Chapter 1. Lily Evergreen, a heart as pure as spring. Once upon a time, in the quaint village of Willowbrook, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering meadows, lived a young maiden named Lily Evergreen. Her radiant smile and sparkling eyes held the innocence and purity of a spring morning, while her gentle soul radiated warmth that lit up the hearts of all who crossed her path. Lily's life, though simple, was filled with a deep appreciation for the natural world that surrounded her. Every day she basked in the sunshine that kissed her skin, danced through fields of wildflowers, and whispered secrets to the babbling brook. Above all, she cherished the love that bloomed like roses in her heart for her beloved parents, who were her guiding light and constant source of joy. Chapter 2. A Deal with Destiny. However, fate had a peculiar way of weaving its tapestry, and Lily's life took an unexpected turn. Her parents, struggling to meet their obligations and enticed by the promises of wealth, arranged a marriage between their daughter and a wealthy man in his 50s, Mr. Victor Caldwell. In return, they received financial support that released them from their burdens. Mr. Caldwell was a man of contradictions. He was wealthy and powerful, with a reputation for ruthlessness and cunning. He was a man who commanded respect, but he was also a man who was feared.
Wicked rich man.
Chapter 3. Blossoms of Despair. Lily's heart sank when she learned of her parents' arrangement. The words, wicked
rich man,
echoed in her ears, a grim melody foretelling her fate. Her world crumbled beneath her feet, not just from the betrayal of her parents, but from the stark reality of her situation. The freedom she yearned for, the dreams she dared to dream, were now slipping away, replaced by a gilded cage of wealth and obligation. Lily's heart sank like a stone into an abyss, the news of her arranged marriage hitting her like a physical blow. The vibrant world around her dulled, the once vibrant hues losing their color, replaced by a monochrome landscape of despair. The freedom she held dear, the dreams she cherished, all dissolved in the face of societal obligation and economic necessity. The groom wasn't just any man. He was a man of immense wealth, a figure shrouded in enigma and whispered rumors. Some spoke of him with hushed reverence, painting him as a titan of industry, a man whose coffers overflowed with gold. Others, however, whispered darkly of ruthlessness and cruelty, of a man who played the game of life with cold, calculating precision.
Wicked rich man.
The man she was to be married to, Mr. Victor Caldwell, a man of immense wealth, yes, but also of ruthless ambition and unyielding control. He was whispered to have a heart as cold as the jewels he adorned himself with, and a gaze that could strip bare a soul. Lily shuddered at the thought of being under his dominion, of becoming another possession in his vast, extravagant collection. The idea of being sold, of becoming a pawn in a game she didn't understand, filled Lily with a sense of violation. She wasn't a commodity, a trinket to be bartered and traded. She was a woman, with desires and dreams, and a yearning for a life she could choose for herself. Yet, here she was, trapped in the gilded cage of her parents' desperation, destined for a life with a man she didn't know, a man who likely viewed her as nothing more than a trophy wife, a mere ornament in his opulent mansion. Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring the vision of her small, sun-drenched bedroom. The room that once held the promise of a future filled with laughter and love now felt like a prison cell, its walls closing in, suffocating her with the weight of her impending fate. She imagined Mr. Victor Caldwell, a man old enough to be her father, with eyes that held the glint of a predator, his gaze lingering on her with an unsettling intensity. The thought of his touch ignited a spark of fear within her, a deep-seated terror that pulsed in her veins like a trapped bird. She was to be sold, bartered like a piece of property, her dreams and desires sacrificed for her family's financial security. A bitter rage welled up inside her, a rebellion against the shackles of society, against the cruel hand of fate that had dealt her this hand. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, threatening to spill over like a dam about to burst. The future stretched before her, a bleak and uncertain landscape, and she felt utterly powerless to change it. The thought of being bound to this stranger, this enigmatic figure who seemed to exist in a world of unimaginable wealth and power, intensified her fear. Would she be swallowed whole by this opulent world? Would she become a prisoner in her own gilded cage, her spirit crushed under the weight of expectations and societal pressures? Or could she somehow find a way to carve out her own space, to retain her individuality and perhaps even influence this enigmatic man? The questions whirled within Lily's mind, unanswered and unsettling. As she stared out of her window, her reflection staring back at her, she knew she had a choice to make. She could succumb to despair and allow her fate to be dictated by others, or she could rise to the challenge, fight for her own happiness, and perhaps even rewrite the narrative that had been forced upon her. But first, she had to face the unknown, the man who was to become her husband, the man who held the key to her future. And with a deep breath, she braced herself for the encounter, her heart filled with a mixture of fear and defiance. The battle for her own life was about to begin. Prologue. As she walked down the aisle, a whirlwind of conflicting emotions consumed her. Her eyes met his, and in that fleeting moment, she vowed to defy the fate that had been chosen for her. Little did she know, the turbulent journey that lay ahead would test her in ways she could never have imagined. The stage was set for a battle of wills, and the question remained, would she succumb to tradition or fight for her own destiny?